I want to give a shout out to Roots to Thrive. It's the most advanced, in my opinion, nonprofit. It's in Canada. And Dr. Pamela Crisco is one of the co-founders. She's a medical doctor licensed by Canada Health for high doses of psilocybin. What they did that I think is very pertinent to many of the people listening here is they have a program, typically with about 8 people who have been given a stage 4 diagnosis, typically cancer, or are traumatized law enforcement officers, soldiers, firefighters. Listen to me, this is really important to me. If you are traumatized and you have PTSD, met some veterans, he told me some stories about Afghanistan, which I wish I didn't hear. We're traumatized, made a mistake. Will you be judged by the worst day of your life? If you are angry at yourself, the potential for you is very likely for you to extrovert that pain that you feel to others because you're angry and you are in an inflammatory state of anger, which depresses your immune system, which causes a cascade of other problems. Roots to Thrive, 8 individuals, lots of therapy preparation typically on indigenous land with indigenous people involved in British Columbia. And what has come out of this program is really amazing, is that they're there, they're worried about anxiety, they're depressed because their prognosis, they're going to die soon. Their family is on high alert. They're traumatized by this. What's going to happen when mom and dad or brother and sister die? And typically what happens is they're bonded together because they have the same diagnosis. We're about to die. They do a high dose of psilocybin in a very carefully constructed environment. And typically what happens is after the experience, patients become the therapists to their family. I'm okay about dying. I have a better understanding about life and death and my purpose in life. Don't worry. One woman had a classic, I'm not going to swear, but she swore on her recording of this, and with permission. It says, I don't care about cancer, I'm going golfing.
I want to touch on something that you indicated as a significant component of the hallucinogenic, the psychedelic, and the kind of transcendental components of these higher doses of psilocybin. And, therapy-assisted psilocybin journeys, it's becoming more of a thing. We live in Southern California. I always say you can't swing a dead cat, without finding 8 people who have done an ayahuasca journey or a this, that, or the other. Right.
I've never heard that phrase before, swinging a dead cat. I haven't done that yet.
It's an expression. No, I'm from the 1940s. Anyway, when I hear you talk about, what it is to journey with someone and to be part, not as a party drug, but to be part of someone's really expansion of consciousness as a guide, as a partner. Obviously, I can't help but think about the numerous indigenous cultures that use plant medicine as part of not really even just a therapeutic journey. It's, in many cases, it's part of the awakening consciousness of being human, is to come of age with an opening that is assisted by plant medicine. And in this book, in Psilocybin Mushrooms and Their Natural Habitats, there's this wonderful map of the world, and it shows the distribution of psilocybin mushrooms. And as Jonathan points out, in all of the places where it's very, very cold, there is no psilocybin. So, Siberia.
There's psilocybin mushrooms in Siberia. Remember, those are reports.
Basically, it looks like Central, Northern Europe, Western Europe, those are very rich with psilocybin mushrooms. Parts of the United States, the West, the East, and some in the middle, but, huge concentration down into Yucatan, that whole peninsula, scattered across South America, an interesting concentration in southeastern Australia. Japan has a little cluster there, and some in Central and Southern Africa. But I wonder if you can talk about, kind of given that consciousness of where on the map we tend to see these larger concentrations of psilocybin mushrooms, what does that tell us about the cultures where this was used? And what do we know historically about the function of these journeys as transcendental and transformative?